78,000 years ago, a child died in what is now Kenya. The group had two choices: leave the body, keep moving. Every other animal on Earth takes that choice. Or stop. They stopped. They dug into the earth with their bare hands. They placed the child inside, carefully, deliberately, knees drawn up to the chest, curled like sleep. The child's head was rested on something soft, a kind of pillow. Then they covered the child with earth and stood there. Nobody moved. In that moment, something shifted inside the human mind that has never shifted back. This child, whose name is lost to 78,000 years of silence, received the first funeral in human history. And every single thing that makes us human today traces back to what those people understood while standing above that small grave: that a life continues to matter after it ends. Most people think funerals are ritual, a custom, a ceremony, something civilizations developed over time because it felt respectful. Here is what they actually are: evidence. The oldest evidence we have that a human being believed something existed beyond the physical world. To bury someone deliberately, you have to believe they still matter after they stop breathing. That requires something no other creature on Earth has ever been confirmed to do: abstract belief. The ability to hold something real, a specific person's value, a specific person's identity, in your mind, even when that person is no longer physically present. That ability is the engine behind every religion ever created, every philosophy ever written, every hospital built, every law passed, every act of love in human history. And the oldest evidence we have of it is a 2-year-old child curled in a carefully dug pit in Kenya, 78,000 years ago. Elephants stand over their dead. They touch the bones with their trunks. They return to the same remains for years. Chimpanzees have been observed carrying their dead infants for weeks, unable to let go. Crows hold what researchers call funeral-like gatherings, large groups assembling around a dead crow in silence before dispersing. This is grief. It is real. It is profound. It deserves to be called what it is. But not one of these animals digs a hole, positions the body, places the head on something soft, covers the body with earth. That specific sequence of actions requires something grief alone cannot produce. It requires believing that what you're doing will matter to someone who can no longer see you do it. It requires imagining the dead. And imagining the dead holding a person as real after they are gone is a power that, as far as the scientific record shows, belongs to us. Think about what had to be true inside a human mind for that burial to happen. First, the child had to matter as an individual, not just as a member of the group, not as a resource. Second, that individual had to be imagined as continuing somewhere. A burial is not disposal. It is preparation. You do not position someone carefully for a journey they are not taking. Third, the group had to agree that spending time on a dead body was worth it. Survival critical time, hours that could have been spent finding food, moving to safety, protecting the living. That decision to stay is deferred survival instinct. No other animal makes it. Someone standing at that grave had to feel the specific pain that comes from knowing this person is gone and is not coming back. Personal grief, the kind that roots your feet to the ground at the edge of a grave. Every one of these 4 things is uniquely human, and every one of them was present in Kenya while those bare hands filled that pit with earth. Here is what that first burial started. If a person continues to matter after death, then what they did in life matters forever. That is legacy. If the dead go somewhere, then somewhere must exist beyond here. That is the origin of every belief in an afterlife. Every religion that has ever existed, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, ancient Egyptian theology, the entire Aztec cosmology, traces its deepest root to this single question: where do the dead go? If this specific person was irreplaceable, then every person is irreplaceable. That is the foundation of human rights, of medicine, of every moral system ever written. If grief is real, then love is what grief proves. You do not grieve what you did not love. The first funeral is therefore also the first evidence of human love as something more than instinct, and from that love, art, music, philosophy, science, every comfort humans have ever created for each other. Consider what exists in America today because of what started in Kenya. Arlington National Cemetery, 400,000 graves, every one of them the same statement made in Kenya: this person mattered. This person still matters. The entire hospice movement, built on the belief that how a person dies is as important as how they lived. The phrase said at every memorial service across this country: he would have wanted it this way. That sentence, so ordinary, so American, so utterly commonplace, is 78,000 years old. It began above a child's grave with people who had no language for what they were feeling. There is one burial that makes everything stranger. Shanidar Cave, northern Iraq, first excavated in the 1950s by archaeologist Ralph Selecki. Neanderthal remains, dating to approximately 60,000 to 70,000 years ago. The original excavation found pollen concentrated around one skeleton. Selecki proposed that flowers had been deliberately placed on the body. The scientific community argued about it for decades. Was the pollen intentional, or did it blow in through natural processes? In 2019, a new research team from Cambridge and Liverpool returned to Shanidar with modern excavation methods. In 2023, they published findings on newly uncovered Neanderthal remains at the site. The positioning was deliberate. The body had been placed with care. Here is why this matters so much. Neanderthals were not Homo sapiens. They were a separate species, a different branch. If Neanderthals also buried their dead, and the evidence now increasingly suggests some of them did, then the awareness of death and the human response to meet it with meaning did not begin with us. It may have emerged in multiple human species independently, from the same root, a brain complex enough to understand that something irreplaceable is gone. The first funeral may not belong to one species. It may belong to the entire human family. The Panga ya Saidi burial, the Kenya site, is real. The research was published in the journal Nature in May 2021 and is broadly accepted by the scientific community, but interpreting ancient burials is never clean. Did the child's curled position reflect deliberate placement, or the natural compression of bones over 78,000 years? The excavating team, led by researchers from the National Museums of Kenya and the Max Planck Institute, is confident the burial was intentional. Other archaeologists have asked questions. The debate continues as it should. What is not contested, intentional burial sites exist across multiple species and continents beginning at least 78,000 years ago. What we cannot know, the exact beliefs that accompanied the first burial. We know what they did. We can only infer what they felt. But the inference is difficult to escape. People who feel nothing do not dig holes for the dead. Go back to Kenya, 78,000 years ago. The ground above the child is freshly turned. The group is standing above it. One person does not move, stands at the edge of the small mound of earth, and feels something. We cannot name it across 78,000 years, but you know exactly what it is. You have felt it. At a graveside, at a hospital bedside, in the moment someone you loved stopped being here. That feeling, wordless, specific, unbearable, is 78,000 years old. It has not changed. Not once. Every funeral ever held since that day in Kenya is a repetition of that first one. Every time a human being stands at a grave and cannot accept that the person underground is simply gone, they are doing exactly what that parent did. They are saying without words what humans have always said: you mattered, you still matter. And nothing that happens to a body changes that. That belief, standing above a small grave in the dark, became the quiet foundation of everything we ever built that was worth building. It did not begin with religion. It did not begin with philosophy. It did not begin with civilization. It began with people who stopped when they didn't have to, with bare hands and a child and the refusal to walk away. Hit that like and subscribe button for more such videos.